Okay, so should you say that and then I say something? Like, for the intro. What do you think feels more natural?
Okay, so I am Sol.
I'm Isabelle. Let's do another intro.
Yeah, can you go like this way?
Oh.
Here we go.
Okay. Welcome to
Sol and Isabelle.
Another Planet music video. Frequently asked questions.
Here we go.
We met at Tuscanova, a bar that I walked into, and I needed a job at the time. So I walked in, spoke to our manager.
Call him out.
I walked in, I got the job, and then on my first day, I was supposed to be trained by the lovely Sol.
Yes.
What was your first impression of me?
I thought you were really nice and confident. I was quite worried though, because
You were worried?
Not because of you, it was because it was my first time having a shift there by myself. But I thought you were really nice and
Aw.
a fast learner.
My first impression of you was that you reminded me of my sister. Whenever I meet somebody new, I always ask their zodiac sign, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the first questions I asked you. And
Which you guessed my zodiac sign, which was correct.
yeah, I guessed
I
it.
am a Pisces.
Yes.
You're a Libra.
I'm a Libra. It was definitely kind of like an instant connection, and I feel like we just vibed from the get-go.
Yeah, we hit it off right away.
We were looking at our first text messages the other day. It's just so funny to look at the communication at that time because it's so similar to how we talk now.
Yeah.
And it's
we were too comfortable right away.
yeah, and it was
Yeah.
our friendship has evolved, but it also has been so strong from the start. I'm pretty sure I manifested Sol because I did a vision board 2 years ago. I have a picture of 2 girls on a couch.
It's literally like this.
It's on a white couch, but it's 2 girls on a couch talking about their ideas. That was my vision, and that's the picture on the vision board. I'll try to take a picture and insert it into this video. And we were talking about this recently because Sol saw the vision board and you were like, is that me? You were like, I think you manifested me. And I'm like, really? Did you manifest me? And you're like, no, I think I was just there. And you were the active one. And you're the one that requested me.
You started doing social media for
Yeah.
Tuscanova.
I was trying to figure out ways to make more money besides the hourly as a bartender. So I asked the manager if I could help out and do some contract work. Yeah, we started doing shoots.
It flowed really naturally, I think. It was a vibe.
It was short-lived though.
Sure. Very short-lived. But I think it was enough for us to see that we wanted
Yeah.
to try to do something together.
Right.
Which brings us to point number 2, us potentially wanting to do a TikTok account.
Drinking and making cocktails.
Yeah, and then funnily enough, Isabelle decided to go sober during that time.
Really?
Yes!
Oh yeah, and then we were talking about non-alcoholic drinks and stuff.
Yeah, so that's why that ended up not working out, but we ended up creating an account.
And then I kind of knew that you did photography and stuff, and I knew you wanted to build your portfolio, so I asked you if you wanted to take some photos. I had an idea for the Calvin Klein shoot.
That's the first one that we actually followed it through, which was really fun. You sent me a mood board, and you ended up doing it at your room. We moved all your furniture, got a sheet up, everything. We did the whole
Shebang.
It was 5 hours, and I know that, and also the fact I went through 4 batteries in my camera.
So that's the start of stuff we'll get into later on in this conversation. Yeah, that's a really long shoot.
But it was really fun though. I think
Yeah.
it went by really fast. And it was really natural for sure. Because sometimes when you are working with people that you've never worked with, taking their pictures, some people are more particular. You are particular, but it was not in a hard way to work with.
I love to hear that.
It was my boyfriend's birthday, and we ended up going to Boston to visit family and friends. And we shot a music video. Go watch it. It's called Flirty. I come back, and she breaks the news to me that you were leaving.
Having to work by myself, I really was like, no, gotta leave.
She didn't last without me.
I had that urge inside of me that it was time to go. You were the only thing that made it worthwhile being there. And I did feel bad because when you came back, I was gone. And I kind of broke it to you.
Over the phone, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was not surprised. If you all have worked at a restaurant, you know that it's a very tricky space. It was quite slow at the time still. It was kind of slow season.
But I always wanted to be bartender, so I got to do my little, I've been a bartender before, check mark on my list.
I was happy for you because I knew you weren't so happy there anyways.
Basically, I had my birthday and I decided Joshua Tree, we rented an Airbnb. It was a really important trip for me and I really wanted to be with like my closest friends. It's crazy because I had only known you 7 months-ish. And I am not the person to meet somebody and just be like, yeah, like let's hang out. Like it takes me time usually because I'm very careful and I like protect my energy, but you fit right in there. And
I brought some shrooms.
Yes, it was such a fun trip. Pun intended. And Sol knew also, so this is why we're talking about it as a project. She knew that I wanted all these pictures, and I think one of my biggest flaws is wanting to get everything on camera all the time.
I wouldn't say it's the biggest flaw. I think it's just
not, but I need to be in the moment sometimes.
Well, I had a lot of fun. I feel like I knew you already to that point, to the extent. Maybe we hadn't done as many serious shoots, but I think I was pretty aware that was something that was going to come up, and I knew we had talked about
the photos. It was like an editorial cowgirl like desert shoot.
I also wanted to take it seriously because I wanted to build my portfolio with people, which I hadn't done quite as much, you know, not posting my personal things, because I've worked with other people and other like artists. I've been around it, but definitely not as creatively involved myself, which it was, you know, really nice to be a part of, and I wanted to make sure that I liked the pictures as well for my own content.
That was our first time being in the cold and being like experiencing that cold before the shoot for AP.
But it was not comparable.
No, it was not comparable.
It was not comparable. It was just so windy.
The last little project before AP was Halloween, taking pictures with you. We did so good because we took like a lot of pictures in such a short amount of time, and we're like, okay, we're done. And like that's the best way that I think we need to start shooting content.
Part of the reason why we didn't take as many, I actually ran out of battery.
Oh, that was why.
That's why, and that's why we ended up taking my pictures with your G7X.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot that.
Yeah.
But also we were like, maybe the universe is telling us to calm down.
Yeah. And by we, the universe meant Isabelle.
Probably.
The pictures are not out,
Pictures aren't out yet, but they're coming soon.
You had brought up the fact that you wanted to do music again. You were ready to release because you had never released anything.
Yeah, I don't really remember the exact conversation we had about that, but it was probably like a snowball effect of me just like doing all of these creative things with you and just being like kind of inspired. And, you know, I always feel like I want to be working on something creative, and music has been the constant that I always come back to. So we talked about a specific song, Another Planet, and how I had tried to get it mixed from other producers before to no avail. Like I did not like the way that they were doing it. I was trying to do it remotely. I wasn't really sitting next to them and being able to like say, oh, I like this better. It just kind of was sitting on the side, and I spoke to you about it, and you told me
that my boyfriend, he owns a recording studio. He does music all the time, so
yeah,
I was like, you should do it with Leo.
Yeah.
I was like, he'll sit with you and you guys do it together.
I ended up mixing with Leo 3 sessions. I was really happy with the result, and during that whole time we talked about shooting a visual.
Yep. Which initially was meant to be kind of in the shorter side, maybe kind of like an Instagram reel.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned to go to the California dunes.
Sand dunes was like the original aesthetic that I had seen for Another Planet. I've never even seen Dune, but that was just the vibe.
I was feeling quite worried, which I expressed to you about sand getting in the camera.
We can't really predict the weather with the desert. That was probably unsafe. Also pretty unsafe to go to the desert, just us two. And we were pretty adamant from the start that it be just a 2-girl production. It was just like, okay, let's rethink the whole location thing. Where else do we see this music visual being?
The original plan, like we mentioned, was to go to the dunes, which was kind of, we were thinking of doing a day trip to just going, shooting.
Yeah.
coming back.
What really convinced me to pick the forest was watching Twilight. Oh, during that time, I also had a Jeep. I got in a car accident, not my fault, on my way to the studio, and it was at that moment that I was like, I can either continue and go to this session, or I can go home and cry about it. And I was like, no, I'm going to the studio, we're gonna do this, like I'm not gonna let anything stop me right now. It ended up being like a blessing in disguise. I was in a Jeep for that time and we were watching Twilight. I saw the Jeep and I sent you a picture and I was like convinced, okay, like forest it is. I started doing more research about Twilight and where it was filmed. It's supposed to be set in Washington and Forks, but a lot of the scenes were filmed in Oregon, Salem, Oregon specifically, at a place called Silver Falls.
We hang out often, but you know, it's a couple days at a time, so we're like, oh yeah, this is what we're doing, and then that falls through.
We had like goals and deadlines of when we wanted this released by.
I definitely was late quite often. Yeah.
There were a few times throughout the whole process where we wouldn't be able to meet because something came up too, but that's also like life and we're just starting to work together.
We are friends, so it was kind of an in-between. How serious can we always take it and be, oh yeah, like I'll be there today, you know, and it's like, no, we have to meet at this time. So we, and by we I mean I, because it was pretty good with us stuff.
I try. I've been late a couple times.
Not as often as I do. We first started looking for the Airbnbs, which we found.
After we decided on Oregon, which we'll talk about was a really lucky decision.
Yeah.
Because of the fires. We were debating between two places, both pretty close to Silver Falls. I asked the host of the one we wanted more if she would match the price of the other one. I don't know if she matched it completely, but she did lower it significantly. And she was so sweet. I think her name was Kate. Flights were very cheap, made $100 for round trip from Burbank, the better airport because it's just more private and quieter usually. But a lot of times Burbank flights are more expensive.
Yeah, because it's way smaller, so.
And we got a promo on the flight.
And we got the promo
because I looked up on like Google like discount promo codes for Avelo Airlines.
Yeah.
It was like almost like $50 if not more. It was like a significant amount.
It was a good amount. We were both surprised that it worked because we actually tried a few other ones before, a few coupons.
It was like everything coming into place, like falling into place like as it should after all the work we had put in. Yeah. It was like, it's gonna work out. The Jeep I did probably a couple days after.
Yeah, you did that
and
after.
I used a discount for that too.
Discount is always appreciated.
It was through my mom's Costco membership.
Shout out to your mom.
222 pops up very frequently in my life. Craziest thing about the flight, it landed at 9:22 a.m. and the flight was 2 hours and 22 minutes. And that was like the sign, like, okay, like this is it.
The project evolved quite a lot. It started, let's do a day trip, to let's rent a camera, let's not rent a camera, let's just use my other Fuji and try to film it and stabilize it after. We were looking at Sequoia, we were looking near California, we were looking at Airbnb, so evolved to that. We had a phone call where I was walking my dog Jasper and Isabelle was telling me like, so are we doing this? The Airbnbs is gonna balance itself out. Because, you know, renting an Airbnb here also was gonna be expensive, and I was concerned for the Sequoia area that it might be too touristy, and that it might be too many rangers, or in the event that they ask us to stop filming and things of that sort. So I was kind of concerned because I knew that it was a very protected area. You convinced me because I think
really
yes, and the phone call I was
convinced me.
We convinced each other. But I think there was a lot of back and forth of us putting the, you know, figuring it out.
The logistics.
Yeah, because I think it was not that we were not down. It was more so like, do you think it's good? Or I'm like, yeah, no. Like, we were kind of putting it together ourselves in our minds first.
Yeah. But what really made you convince me is you're like, okay, like, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah.
After we've, like, overanalyzed things for way too long, which we always do.
Yeah.
Like, Soul will be like, okay, like, let's just do it.
I'm like, fuck it. I came across a video that was talking about the new iPhone. They shot a full movie with the iPhone. Monkey Man was one of the movies that I had seen shot on iPhone. I also saw that they shot a full movie, which was like 27 years later, which is the zombie movie. They ended up choosing to do it all on the iPhone. I sent you the text. You said, oh, I don't know. Because this whole time we're thinking we're going to shoot it with the Fuji.
Right.
And I said, okay, I'm gonna go. I got the iPhone and I texted her. I was like, it's back on. I was like, the iPhone idea is back on.
So you upgraded to the 16 Pro right on time.
Right on time. I just wanted to make sure that we had a structure of something to look back on, because I've done in the past other shoots where you just kind of go out and shoot and it's cool and all, but then you're there standing around wondering, oh, what can be cool,
which we did anyway.
We did that anyways, but
because we forgot about all the work that we did.
We definitely forgot, which is tragic. It was short. It was not too long. I just wanted to have a
But then I added the itinerary on it.
She added an itinerary to make sure I saw it, because she already had it and in my notes.
No, not specific for days of each shoot. And I had the weather on each shoot day, like 40 degrees. Like, are we gonna be able to be outside? Because I wanted to know like what the vibes were gonna be for each day and have a general idea of what shots we
also wanted snow.
We also thought there was going to be snow in Oregon.
We did think that, so we adjusted to everything, and it came out fire anyways. But
one of the hardest aspects was
the costume
scouting.
Design.
It was scouting the costumes and what I wanted to wear and the look for the different days and how many looks. And it's just, I'm not a specialty costume designer, so it was kind of just the vibe that I started with. Like, I knew I wanted like a blonde wig. I knew I wanted to look like alien-esque or like fairy-esque or out of this world. So
you wanted the eye contact stuff.
Yeah, I wanted the colored contacts. Like, I wanted to look,
not myself.
That's what I said verbatim probably, but I think it's just like, looking back, that's not really the terminology that I would want to say, because it is me. Like, it is me to want to dress up and look like a different version of myself, and I love like transforming and kind of like doing different looks. That's one of my, like, I try to do that every day. I feel like I try to look different. I just have fun with it. So yeah, that was like the hardest part, because I would go to thrift stores and I would look online, and I remember one of the major dresses that I thought I wanted, which was like a black backless like sparkly dress. I ordered it, and then like a couple days later it said it sold out. Now looking back, like, parts of it are feeling too costumey, which is fine, and like it's the first one and we're learning, but I'm really excited for the next projects where we can maximize simplicity.
We had one dress that we were going back and forth, because she ordered a few black ones, and there was this one that she wanted, and I did not like.
Which one?
The one that had the shimmy, like, it was a black one, but
I really want it that badly?
You were kind of bummed that I didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah.
But I feel like when you tell me you don't like something, you're being honest about it, so I don't really, like, I'm not really, like, sad about it. I'm like, you have good taste too, like, let's cut it out. And so, is there anything else I want to say about the wig?
Well, we had talked about you getting it professionally done.
I wanted it to look real as can be, but
it was just too much money, like, added extra.
And I was like, I can do this, like, I'll watch videos. Yeah. And I did. And I did my best, guys. Right before we left. What happened?
Okay, so the day right before we left, which I was coming over because we had an early flight.
Yeah, we had a flight at like 7 something a.m.
Yeah, so I was coming over so we can head straight to the airport in the morning, you know, make sure that we had all the lighting, everything. All the equipment, because we also were going to share a suitcase. So I am getting ready to go meet with you, which I ended up being a little late. I had some unfortunate news on my personal life. We're not gonna get into it too much, but I ended up being really distraught. I felt it was really sad, honestly. It was quite traumatic.
It was really traumatic.
It was really traumatic, especially because it was quite shocking. But yeah, I actually get in the Uber. I'm heading to yours, and then you called me, and I'm just like trying not to cry. You immediately knew something was off. You can tell that I wanted to cry, and then I start crying. The second you said, "What's wrong?" and I just start sobbing. My Uber driver, she was kind of like, "What's going on?" You can tell. But yeah, I made it to yours. We had a really tough conversation about like what was going on. I was really distraught, and I felt, you know, there was a lot of things that were brought up to light, and we kind of sat there. We both cried, and you know, you were concerned that, you know, I was not gonna be in the right space, and then the vibe was not gonna be there because I was so distraught. I was just I couldn't stop crying. It was not good.
No. I also feel like in our conversation something else came to light for me.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh wait, this is way bigger than I thought. And I was taken aback by things that had happened, and I think we really communicated really well about it. It was super traumatic though. I don't know. We're still processing.
Yeah, it's something.
We're still processing. We're being so vague, but
yeah, but it was a tough situation, and we definitely had to talk and see what we both wanted to do.
Yeah, but I was more concerned about your well-being of wanting to go. I didn't want to pursue the project if it was going to be
a force.
But by the end of our conversation, the consensus on your end was like, I want to go, I want to do this, like, I think it's important we do this.
Yeah, and I just didn't want, you know, to things or life, anything to get in the way of that. I didn't want, you know, the universe or anything to take that away from me, that we've been working really hard. We had spent at that point, a few months. You know, I said to you, I think we can do this, and I want to do it. And, you know, I just kind of left it up to you, and you were like, okay, we can go, and we'll see how we feel once we make it there. So,
oh my gosh,
we have to.
I'm like going back. It's rough. It was rough.
It was so rough.
It was rough.
The morning.
And the crazy thing about that day is I had a beautiful day that day. Like, I had a beautiful, magical synchronicities everywhere day. And I remember thinking that day before I met with you, this is too good to be true. This is too good to be true. Everything felt perfect. Too good.
Something also to add from our friendship is that it always works out. And I think that's why we've been able to grow our friendship so quickly and so close, and so many things that have happened, is because every time we do hang out, the vibes are always there, and, you know, things are always just aligning for us together. We are always kind of saying, oh, do you remember this movie? And then you say, I just watched it yesterday. Yeah. So a lot of little things like that, we kind of are very in the same wavelength. We tend to be very connected like that.
Yeah.
So
we decided to go.
We decided to go. We did a little, it was a really quiet way there.
Yeah, the Uber ride was quiet.
It was quiet. There was crickets. I get upgraded to first class now.
Oh, yeah.
On the airplane.
Crying.
Tell them. There was actually a gentleman next to me, which he was really nice. He asked me how my morning was going, but he had a really strong cologne, and I was feeling obviously sad. I was processing a lot of stuff. But he had a really strong cologne, and I was really sensitive, so I felt like I was feeling sick. And then all these memories started happening. I started crying again, and the flight attendant felt bad for me, and she upgraded me to first class. She was like, it's less shaky over there if you want. She was really kind. She upgraded me, and I'm over there sitting just like crying. But she was really nice. She checked on me many times. She
and wasn't she on the flight back too?
Yeah, she was on the flight back. She was like, are you feeling better?
It's so cute. It's like full circle.
I actually saw her at the restaurant at Tuscanova. I forgot to tell you. But I don't think she recognized me.
What? You saw her at Tuscanova?
I saw her at Tuscanova. And she sat at one of the two mini two-tops that we have at the bar.
Why
and she was
didn't
like,
you
really
say anything?
We made eye contact like once or twice, but I didn't want to say anything about it. But yeah, it was kind of strange. I did see her a couple times after.
The flight for me, I think I slept.
Yeah, you slept.
And then we got there and got straight to the itinerary. I want to preface this whole little chapter with the fact that right when we arrived, after all of that trauma that we just went through, we got so many little signs that were saying, you guys are on the right path, you are where you are supposed to be. And the first interesting thing was the Uber driver, who it was his first day.
It was his first day. He was so kind. He was talking about his wife the whole time, and it was his first day, and we were his first ride.
Then he took us to Enterprise to get the Jeep, which I had called Enterprise many times to figure out the color of the car, because we wanted black. That was our first choice, but they were like, we can't really let you know, we're not gonna know, like whatever. And so we get there, and
they had two options originally that they had mentioned in the phone. May I just say, we had a few ideas of the colors, but they weren't certain of which one we were gonna get till the day that we got there.
But we got there, we saw the black Jeep in the parking lot, and it got there
that day,
like hours before. Right?
Yeah, they had just gone, and they told us, oh, let me go make sure it's clean. So they went to check, and it was clean enough.
Yep.
And we got it.
I really think putting it on the mood board like made it happen. So that was the thing, and we were still kind of like, you know, feeling the vibes of Oregon. Obviously we were coming off that low moment, even with the flight, even with the excitement of being there. But the first restaurant we go to, the total is like $22. There's that 22 again.
With 22 cents.
I don't think it was 22.
No.
No, you know what it was? You're thinking of the final amount when we split the trip at the end.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's
okay.
here. So, and then the hot sauce. The hot sauce at the same restaurant, you want to say?
It had my name on it. It was a random hot sauce. And it said Sol.
That's crazy.
It just said my name and we were both like,
Yeah.
what?
We were like, okay.
Also, the road was 22.
The highway. The highway right next to us is 22. So, okay, so we get to the dispensary and...
I wait in the car.
Yeah.
I'm off the story for this. I'm in the car.
But I go in there with my literal, like, I'm wearing, like, those gloves. And, like, I kind of have my, like, some of my gear on for the shoot. But we hadn't started shooting yet. The guy at the dispensary, he, like, compliments my style and we start talking. He looks at my license, obviously. And he's like, no way, like, we're twins. And he has the same birthday as me. So, actually, his name was Tolo, and I actually wanted to look up what that meant, because it sounds like Latin almost, or something.
Hello?
But, yeah, he was really cool, and super welcoming about us being in Oregon, and yeah. And then...
we make it to the Airbnb, which is the cutest little cabin. It was
So
a lot
cute.
smaller than we originally thought. It looked bigger in the pictures for
Yeah,
sure. But it was perfect.
It was
though.
perfect.
It was perfect. And I don't mean that in a bad way, that it was smaller. I'm just saying. It was.
Yeah.
But it was really cute. We had a slight moment of panic. We could not figure out how to open the lock. Trying the front, the back door, trying to figure out
Freaking out, and then our nails,
How do
like,
you open
couldn't
it?
open the
We're like,
little
I don't want to
key
break
box.
my nail.
Yeah.
We're like trying to do it.
But then we got it,
I got it open.
and we got in there, and we literally started shooting that night.
Yeah, we got in there.
And I
We
put the wig on that night.
we're like, okay, let's go.
Why we felt comfortable enough to film that day is because we were just going to film, like, across the street.
Yeah.
So we filmed across the street. We did, like, 2 looks because I did the blue jacket look that night, too.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of got a really good sense of the temperature, which was really difficult.
It was rough.
That was a really hard night,
It
too.
was, yeah. I think,
But we got a lot done.
yeah, we got a lot done, and that one was our fastest day shooting.
Yes.
Again,
Yeah.
then we, like,
Which we got a lot of footage for.
in the moment, it did not feel like it was that easy, though.
Mm-mm.
I remember we were shooting, and then we're kind of looking back at the footage, and we're like, oh, like, I don't know if I like that angle,
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that. And we're like, oh.
I feel like always on the first run of things, like, I always get the best content sometimes.
There's only so much footage you can do without starting to overthink, and now you're like, oh. We wanted to have enough footage, which ended up backfiring it on us a little bit.
But day 1 was good. Day 2 was really good. We did the forest shoot. We went to that forest where we paid for parking and walked around. And we did the natural hair look in the morning.
we did
that whole day. Yeah, we did the natural hair look.
Yeah, that day we only did that. We also did
Car shots.
and we did street shots.
Yeah.
Because we had a really cool road. There was not a lot of traffic because it was it was quite remote.
Secluded. We would record, like, the song in full in a few locations, then get B-roll.
Close-ups.
Yeah,
You know,
not really following the treatment, but just kind of going with our gut in the moment.
Yeah.
Because day 2 was our luckiest day with weather too. It was pretty manageable.
And also we went pretty early, I would say. The sun was out. It was not windy that day.
Less pressure, day 2.
Yeah.
Did we eat that day?
Yeah, we went to a diner. We got a wrap. You got a wrap. I got a wrap. I don't
Went to
remember.
the diner that day? Oh!
The diner where I got the hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where your hot chocolate obsession began, huh?
Yeah. I'm still having hot chocolate since.
That was actually pretty good. I
Yeah.
had to ask for hot sauce.
Yeah.
Day 3, hardest day ever.
Isabelle
yes.
found that you can go because she saw people going
Yes.
under the waterfall.
Day 2, we discovered the waterfall and we were like, we're gonna have to come back here tomorrow because we were done for the day.
For sure, the toughest day. It might have been shorter just because we ended up earlier, but we did go there early because we didn't want to run into so many people, which we did. But again, they weren't like super on the way.
We got there, we shot a little bit. I did that whole scene that we didn't use.
Tragic.
Where I'm literally in my strapless corset and heels and blonde wig am walking.
No food. Well, I did eggs in the morning though.
Temperature-wise, walking all the way along like this underpass, which maybe we can clip in there as well. Walking back, and like you can see at the end of the video, I shudder. I shudder with freezingness because I'm just like, I can't believe I just did that. We go back to the car. We were all numb. Your hands from doing the lighting and me putting her hairbrush in the vest. And
yeah, I was quite worried that I was shaking the whole time because I was handhelding. The whole video was with the iPhone, and I had the iPhone, and then I also have the SSD card. Like, my brain was frozen. It was at some point like I couldn't think. You can hear it in our voices behind the scenes. It's just kind of like we're both kind of
we were like in shock almost. Like we were
Yeah.
like about to experience hypothermia maybe.
Yeah. Although I had a jacket. Well, I had a sweater and then her
And then
vest.
I had a jacket
And then she had a jacket
that I would take off and put on.
Yeah, for that, but it was still a lot. I could not feel my fingers at all. My fingers were almost purple.
We went back to the car, we warmed up, we put our hands on like the heater and we like caught up and we're like
we ate a banana.
But we were like we have to go back down there, but we didn't. I wish we did. I wish we did a few more full takes of the song.
Yeah.
But
we ended up going back halfway.
Yeah, we went back halfway and then we shot verticals and took some more photos and B-roll.
And B-roll, yeah. Everyone was so nice, really kind.
Yeah.
When we were filming, no one was kind of
Yeah.
awkward, which in LA can be quite awkward because they ask you why you're filming.
Which is so ironic because LA is a place where everyone's coming to do that, but you're judged for it.
Yeah.
Whereas like Oregon, like you wouldn't expect really anybody to do that.
Yeah.
And yet they're really cool. So.
Yeah, they just kind of passed by, they smiled, said hi, and that's it. No one.
Yeah.
And no one stopped us,
I mean,
which was even better.
Okay, but day 3, those boys, they were kind of hanging out.
Oh yeah, but that was we were in the hangout spot.
Okay.
Day 1, day 2, and day 3. She was in heels the whole time. We ran into 2 girls, and Isabelle was asking them, how long does it take to get there? And they're like, I don't know, maybe like an hour. And at first they said like something like that, like an hour.
Something absurd.
We're like, oh no. And then they're like, well, no, just to get from here, because they had done the whole hike, so I guess they meant
thought,
the whole like circle around, but we meant just to the waterfall. And they were like, well, maybe like 20 minutes there and 20 minutes
And
back.
I was like, do you think I can do it in these shoes? And they're like, yeah, you can do anything in heels.
Yeah, they were so nice. One of them, they was like, and they were like, no, yeah, you can. This is a funny part of the whole experience. We've been together throughout the whole day. We're kind of instructing each other of things that we can do better. We're trying to make this look good, so we're both kind of getting snappy because we haven't eaten. We're trying to be skinny queen for the video, and we don't have an actual caterer to make food for us while we make this whole thing. So I am starving. I'm like, I need food right now. And Isabelle had the wig on. And she had a headache. She had a really big headache, and she needed to take it off.
Oh yeah, I had the largest headache ever. Like I don't even know where that came from. It just started hurting so bad.
We did braids on her head, and I did a bunch of pins, really tight pins on her ear head to make sure that the braids were, so you didn't have like a big head. She rips off because she gets the headache. She takes out the wig like.
Rip it off
like crust
because we glued it on,
and she looks insane, and I'm like, I don't care, I'm hungry, we're eating right now. First of all, we make it to the restaurant, I want to eat, and then she's like, so I cannot go in there looking like this. And I said, yes you can.
I was like, I need makeup wipes, and then I'll go. We went to CVS or Walgreens.
Yeah,
I waited in line with my crazy face.
She looked like one of those AI
Oh,
tree
yeah.
things, the ones that go.
But nobody questioned it when I got to Walgreens. They were just like, so
not
phased. Cool. Yeah, not really phased. And so I got the makeup wipes, wiped it all off. Felt so good to wipe it off. Yeah. And then we went to the restaurant. Super cute. The lady was super nice.
Yeah.
The fires in California.
Well, at first we just thought they're gonna put it out, but then all of a sudden everyone's texting us like, are you guys okay?
Yes.
No one knew, because I don't think we told many people we were going.
Our plan was to continue shooting, get whatever we needed last, but that was the point when we were really hearing about the fires, and it didn't feel right to continue recording that night, and we were tired, and we just needed to kind of refocus and prepare for our flight tomorrow. And
we cannot shoot right now. This is not good.
Happened when we were leaving?
We didn't talk about the creepy thing that happened.
What?
The guy that knocked on the cabin.
Oh yeah.
That was kind of
weird.
Okay,
you tell it really quickly.
We tried to change the vibe because we were kind of sad with the whole fire stuff.
Was this on day 3?
That was day 3. That was the night before we left, and we are listening music. We're trying to decompress from the whole day. It's pitch black outside. You cannot see anywhere forward.
You can't see the road that's literally 10 feet in front of us.
We hear a car you know, but it's a road, whatever. And then next thing you know, you just hear knock knock, and it's some guy at the door.
He said something.
Yeah, he said something, but we don't
forget what it was. I heard what he said, but it was like, I just want to ask a question or something, and I literally, I don't know.
Scary.
Oregon seems like a safe place, but this vibe felt bad. And I actually was really scared because it is this very small cabin, and like who knows if he could like maybe sneak in. And so we texted the host.
Yeah.
I texted the host like, somebody's knocking on our door. Like, does that mean anything? Like, is this somebody we know? And she was like, what?
He was not leaving. It might have been like a minute or two, but it felt longer. And I'm freaking out because I'm like, he can break the window and get in if he actually wanted to.
I think he had maybe, if it was like a good guy, like just asking for directions, but like I did not want to take that chance, and I'm really glad we weren't stupid enough to
open the door. Yeah,
because I think easily we could have been like, it's probably nothing, and done it. I want to break it down for them and just let them know like the fast things that we learned. So let's talk about our go-tos for whenever we came. There was a issue with our shot.
There were 3 go-tos to fix it.
4.
1, put a grain on it.
Make it look like
it's meant to look like that.
A little vintage vibe.
Number 2.
Should we mirror this? Should we make it look like some weird symmetry, like shroom, like visual, where it just looks like kind of trippy?
Or
crossfades.
Crossfade.
For transitions, we would use crossfades to make it like flow better and feel like it's a vibe. Because also though, so many of the parts of my song kind of have that crossfade energy where different lyrics are on top of each other. So that was another one. And then the last one.
Oh, the cropping, which came in handy if you remember earlier that we talked about the wig.
Gotta crop that part off sometimes, especially when it's noticeable.
Whenever it was close-ups, there was a few that we had to crop out.
I mean, there's definitely a few shots in the music video itself where the cropping of the wig is not as it should be because we did want my full face. But I'm just happy that I can be on here and say, hey, like, it was my first time trying it, guys. I know there's parts that it might be showing, but I did everything I could so that it like would look its best.
She took on most of the editing because I personally never done it, and then I was just gonna join in. We did a couple days. But
towards the end, Sol really like hopped in there, and she would give me feedback like live or in person or even over FaceTime, and it was so helpful because let's just say as an artist, it's very difficult to be editing yourself in a music video 24/7, like every day of the week. Having somebody with their own perspective who I know has good taste, like I mentioned, and like knows what's good as well, was super, super helpful. And we had probably 3 sessions where we worked together for hours, at least 3 hours each time, and just like went scene by scene. And
we kept going back because sometimes we get stuck in one shot and we're like, okay, let's rewatch it again, and then scene, okay, that looks good, okay, move forward, okay, no, there, we have to figure out that scene. And
or like, I don't like this shot anymore, what can we do? Can we mirror it or crop it or add grain? Release party, we decided to do it on Friday, 2/21. We did that the day before the song released on 2/22. The energy was beautiful, and I love all my friends that came, and I felt so supported. After the release party, we had the day of release, and that was a very emotional day for me, more so than I thought. I just got really nice messages, and it was like super emotional. And then we had planned to finish editing the video and release it that same night because the original goal was to release the music video the same day as the song. But Sol comes over thinking that we were going to edit, and I could not. And I freaked out because of the burnout. The song came out, we just did a release party, and now we have the video to put out still, and I was like, there's no way. I started crying in front of you.
I felt so bad, although like you said, we were communicating, we were doing a lot of sit-down dates, FaceTimes, we were doing everything, but she's also working on it by herself a lot. I went there thinking, okay, we're gonna go edit. So I show up and I'm like, okay, she's making dinner, and I'm like, okay, let's edit. I'm like ready to edit. And
we had a little argument.
Yeah, we had an argument because there was a slight misunderstanding. You had said something along the lines of you came ready to edit, and I experiencing all this, burnout and all these things. It's just the way I interpreted it is like I am making you feel this way, so I'm just sitting there watching you cry and I don't know what to do.
Only one other time we've had like difficulty kind of understanding what we're saying to each other, and the last one was like a creative thing. This felt more personal, and I kind of got anxious as well. We communicate so well on so many levels, but sometimes there's just like moments when we're not understanding each other.
Nothing bad, right?
Nothing bad.
We're not like cursing at each other.
No, not
nothing
at all.
that.
I got nervous and anxious because I was like, I'm so sad. Like, now we're arguing. Like, what's gonna happen to our friendship?
I'm like, why?
And during that, I told you that I think you're one of my closest friends. I have arm's length with a lot of people, and I don't let people get super close to me. But yeah, Soul's kind of broken down my walls a little bit with that.
I think I did get a little anxious when I thought that I was making you feel that way in that moment. We just talked it out, and you know, I reassured you that there was nothing to be worried about. We just have to talk it out. And you were overwhelmed, and then after she stops crying, she's like, I think I'm on my period.
Really?
Yes, you said I think I'm on my period, and you were like, oh, it kind of makes sense because I was having cramps or something like that. You said, and I was like, okay.
Overall, the things that we want to improve on for next projects, I think outfits, I definitely want to be simpler with that. Just have like more solid ideas of what I want, because I think I wanted a lot of different things, and I wanted like duality and 2 different types of me. Knowing when to stop, I think, is a really important thing.
Yeah, because that's part of the reason why I think we took so long, is because we did a lot of cuts, we did a lot of different scenes. We had so many ideas, and again, going back to the treatment, we didn't fully follow or create a super concrete one. I said to you, even if the shot is really cool, we don't have to use everything. We would step back because we would catch each other like doing that.
Yeah.
We're like, but it's so cool, we have to put it, and we're like, no, but we don't have to.
And then we're like, but we can use that for promo. Like, we can use it for something else. We can use it for anything.
Yeah, behind the scenes, like things didn't make it.
I think it aligns with having an open mind when it comes to these things, because if you have that open mind, then you're just going to be able to make more decisions about how you can use all that content.
This was a large project because, again, we did everything on our own. Styling, the hair, makeup, lighting.
Yeah. So what's next?
Well, for me, I am currently getting more into video. I started with pictures, and I'm still doing pictures. I just finished a project yesterday, actually, that I sent over. Woo! Yeah, I'm working with other people. I'm still kind of taking clients, learning a lot.
And then for me, I would say music is my priority right now. I'm really excited to potentially bring some of my demos to life and elevate them. I feel super inspired right now. It definitely helps to have Soul working with me on a lot of projects, and I'm just super grateful to be as obsessed as I am with everything right now. That's what's next in terms of our solo projects. And then together, we are wanting to try to produce some content together and create a TikTok channel.
Our process pursuing this in a world that you know that is so saturated. Everyone has something different to bring to the table, and we're still figuring out what we want to bring. It will still probably change our content. I'm sure we're gonna look back at some point and see what we've done. Actually saying it this year for both of us has been really kind of a priority. For you say I'm an artist, and for me say I'm a photographer and I'm a videographer. Like actually saying it, because before you're like, oh, I'm kind of starting, or you know, kind of being afraid of showing because we're just starting. No, like, you know, this is what we're doing and this is what we want, so we're gonna continue to do that and actually share it, because there's no point if you're not gonna put it out there.
We are where we're supposed to be, and we're working on really cool things, and I'm so excited. This is just the start,
just the beginning.
This is the start
of something new. It feels
so right to be here with you.
you. And now
I don't know the rest of the lyrics.
Well,
we're done.
We're done.